Hello everyone, and happy Mental Health Awareness Month. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. I hope that you enjoy today's video. Today I'm going to be very open and vulnerable, so I ask that you please be kind in the comment section down below. I will be deleting any that are hurtful or offensive because this is going to be a safe place, not just for me, but for other people who might be dealing with struggles during this pandemic, during quarantine, during self-isolation. So I just want this to be a safe, happy place. I'll turn off comments if that's absolutely necessary. But anyway, it is Mental Health Awareness Month, and last year I released on my channel the fact that I have Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, and I have been living with it diagnosed since I was 14. So it's been 10 years now, and I do notice like some tendencies from when I was a kid that I can now like evaluate and see that those were some OCD tendencies. So I thought I'd make this video today to talk about what it's like to have OCD during a pandemic. Of course, everybody has different struggles with OCD or with any type of mental health disorder. With my OCD, I tend to have anxiety and depression as well as consequences, I guess, of having OCD. So I just wanted to talk about that. Obviously, everybody's going to go through it in different ways. Some people might be struggling with it a lot more. Some people might be struggling in different areas a lot more. But I just wanted to share my story, be vulnerable with you guys. I hope that this raises awareness for what OCD really is, because I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions out there. And also, if you are struggling with any type of mental illness, I hope that this gives you a safe place to come to and realize that you are not alone, and that so many people care about you. And that's something that I've had to remind myself a lot of during this pandemic. So I hope that you guys enjoy this video. Like I said, I did make a video all about getting diagnosed with OCD in my story, so I will link that up above if you want to check it out from last year. And anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to share with you guys what it's been like to live with OCD during the pandemic, and also how I've been coping with it. And I feel like the answers might surprise you, to be honest, because a lot of people I should say have this conception of OCD as people who are like terrified of germs and who have to have everything in a particular order. And I'm not saying that those things aren't true, because for some people it is, but it's just so frustrating when I'm like at work or somewhere and like a piece of paper is like not lined up perfect with the top paper, and people are like, oh my gosh, my OCD is driving me crazy, can you fix that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is not OCD. Like, I am serious. It is so frustrating. But anyway, I want to share with you guys some of the tendencies that I've been experiencing while I've been in this house, self-isolating. So first off is germs. This is a pandemic, and obviously I have lived through some other viruses and sicknesses through my life, like Ebola, swine flu, all of those different things that have come out. But I don't think any of those were quite as serious as the coronavirus pandemic, which we are currently living in. So it's just really interesting to live through this with OCD and to share my story, because I'm hopeful that it will never happen again in my lifetime. It is definitely not a good situation, but you know, it is what it is. So hopefully this video helps you guys a little bit if you're also struggling. So germs, for me, believe it or not, I actually feel like my OCD helps when it comes to germs, because I feel like I can see them better than other people. It's not like I can physically see a germ, but my mind thinks about it a lot more, because I'm always thinking about cross-contamination, and it just never shuts off in my head. So like whenever I take Nala out, those are the moments that I have the biggest cross-contamination struggles, I guess is the right word, because I'm touching my keys, I'm touching her leash, I'm touching the door, and then I'm touching the gate to get out of the door, and then I'm having to pick up her waste, and then I'm having to throw it in the bin that everybody else puts their bin in, grabbing the bag where that everybody touches, and then I have to put my keys back in my pocket, so I remember that my pocket has germs in it now. So as soon as I get back in the house, those things are all at the top of my head. So I'm like, put the key on, put the leash on, wash my hands, then I take my jacket off, wash my hands, And then, well, actually I take my jacket off, I feed Nala, and then I wash my hands just in case the bag has any germs on it. And then I feel like I don't have any risk on me, if that's the right way to put it, because I can visualize those things in my head. Or it's like if my husband went out and took the dog, he comes in after touching everything like I just did, he pushes his glasses up, he turns on the lights, and you know, he takes off his shoes, and then he washes his hands. So I try to explain, look at all the things that you just touched that you could be spreading contamination to. So in that way, I feel like it's a little bit of a benefit to have OCD, because I can picture it a lot better and my mind just cannot stop thinking about that. So that is something that I was not expecting during this pandemic. When it first started, I was so scared, because the biggest struggle that I've had with obsessive compulsive disorder is hand washing. And with everything going around about wash your hands for 20 seconds, blah, 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 all that stuff, I was so terrified that I was going to be washing my hands so much that it would get to the point again where I didn't have skin on my hands, which is what happened when I was 14. And I was so scared. And a couple of times I've had to check myself during this pandemic to make sure I'm not washing my hands like crazy, but it definitely isn't to the extent which I thought it would be, which I'm really grateful for how far I've come in 10 years since I first got diagnosed and since I first started the hand washing. Because it was really hard to get out of that mindset of my hands are dirty, my hands are dirty, my hands are dirty, my hands are dirty. Whereas now I can picture it better. Okay, if I touch this, my hands are dirty, rather than just always thinking that my hands are dirty. So that's germs. I will say I did have one major panic attack during this pandemic. It happened like maybe 2 weeks after we started self-isolating. I haven't had a panic attack about germs like that since I was 14. So it was really scary to me, because I started to see some of those tendencies from when I was younger coming out again. When I was 14 and I would shower and I thought I had germs, I would pour soap in my mouth, pour soap in my eyes, pour soap up my nose, in my ears. I just thought everywhere was dirty. And basically what happened was I was taking Nala out to use the bathroom, and this couple was walking by me, and you know, we're supposed to keep a 6 feet distance, but for some reason in Atlanta people are not doing that. Like even if we go on a family walk or things like that, people just are right next to me. So they just kept continuing to walk even though they saw me coming by, and there was absolutely nowhere where I could move to the side to keep a 6 foot distance. And then the girl said, "Can I pet your dog?" And I was just trying to be nice and I wasn't thinking about the consequences, and I said sure, like, because I knew I really did not want her to touch my dog, but I didn't want to be rude either. So she's pet Nala like all over her neck and her back, and I took Nala out, and I felt the panic rising inside me, and I kept trying to be calm, but I could not be calm. All I could think about was all the germs that were on Nala, which were now spreading to her leash, which I was holding, and then if she came in and did something like this, how they were gonna spread everywhere. So I came in, I immediately sprayed her leash and my keys, and I took her into the bath. I gave her a bath, and then I had to shower, and I was freaking out. I was crying. Blake was freaking out because he didn't know what was wrong with me. And I promised myself I wasn't gonna cry in this video, but I started to feel how I felt when I was 14 about germs, how I wanted to wash my mouth and my eyes and my nose. And I know that's silly because she probably had no coronavirus germs whatsoever. But the part that really scared me was they were carrying takeout food, so I didn't know where they had come from. I didn't know any of that, so I was just panicking. And so luckily I didn't put soap anywhere that it's not supposed to go. But I had a lot of anxiety. I came out of the shower just trembling and crying, and I just laid on the bed with a towel for a long time because I was just traumatized. So that is probably like the biggest struggle that I had with germs. I calmed down. After a panic attack, I'm just exhausted because it's such an adrenaline rush and then I just have nothing left, so I literally laid in bed the rest of the day. But that was terrifying to me, and that was probably the biggest struggle that I had as far as germs are concerned. So that's germs. The next struggle I've had is not being able to plan. With OCD, I tend to have anxiety when plans don't go according to plan. So for example, before this all started with my schedule at work, I'd have the schedule, I was happy with my schedule. If I needed to change it, I would change it like a week before, 2 weeks before. But when it came to the actual week of work, I liked it to stay the way that it was. I had already planned out my week according to how my schedule was, and a couple of times people asked me to just trade shifts like that day or the day after, and I would do it to help them out if they needed like to do something. And honestly, I had such bad anxiety throughout my shift because I really like to have my life in order and planned out, and in quarantine when you don't have a plan, it's kind of been giving me a little bit of anxiety, and it's been making me feel like I'm really out of place. So even like at night when I'm laying down for bed, Blake will be like trying to sleep, and I'll be like, so what do you want to do tomorrow? Because for me, I just have to have some form of plan for what I'm going to do the next day, and not having that has given me a little bit of anxiety, and it makes it harder to go to sleep at night because I have no idea what's going to happen the next day. But that's been kind of like a trivial thing, and ways to combat that, I've been writing to-do lists and planning my own things, like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to pay off my debt to Tom Nook, and tomorrow I'm going to finish this chapter, and tomorrow I'm going to film my video. And that's kind of been helping me put things into order a little bit, but it definitely is hard. So if you feel that way, I feel you for sure. Probably the biggest struggle I've had in quarantine is social media. For me, it's hard to explain, if you don't have OCD, what it feels like in your mind, because I try to tell my husband all the time because he just doesn't get it. Like, he's like, why are you stressed about that? Why are you thinking about that? I'm like, you don't understand. I can't stop thinking about it. Like, my mind just plays things over and over and over again. I'll be having the most relaxing night, reading a book or playing Animal Crossing or watching a movie, and my mind will be like, oh my gosh, do you remember what you did when you were in 7th grade? And I cannot stop thinking about it. And even like sometimes when I'm reading my book, I'll have some kind of trigger in my head, and there's a couple of triggers that I have, but specific words or things like that. And when that happens, I think about it and I kind of stop thinking about it for a little bit, but I still have that anxious feeling in my stomach. And maybe like 20 minutes later, I'll be like, why am I feeling anxious like this? And then I'll go back and I'll remember, oh my gosh, okay, that's why. And it sucks. It like really sucks because there's no way for me to get my mind off of those things. And social media has been the worst with that because of the hypocrisy, the pure idiocracy, is that the right word? Idiocy. Just I can't stop thinking about it. People going out to parties with 50 other people, or people hanging out with different friends every day, or people just doing things that are not smart, and sharing things that just makes absolutely no sense. And it's been really hard for me because when I see those things and I see my friends doing those things, I cannot stop thinking about it, and it just plays over and over and over and over again in my mind. And I've really had to take a step back from social media because I just can't live that way, like constantly being anxious because of the things that other people are doing, and it's really frustrating. So I've kind of taken a step back from social media, but it's definitely been really hard to see those things on social media because they literally do not come out of my head. So that's probably like the biggest struggle that I've had being in social isolation. Another thing that's really hard is being alone with my thoughts. I kind of mentioned this earlier, like how my mind kind of like reminds me of things that I don't want to think about, and it's really hard. Not only that, but I do have certain fears that when I think of them, it just takes me down a dark path, and I literally cannot get out. I'll just be really vulnerable and say that one of those is eternity. It freaks me out, and I cannot think about it, because if I start thinking about, like, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to freak myself out, like I'm already starting to cry, but it freaks me out, and I just can't think about it, because if I do, I'm going to keep following the path, and then I'm going to get this really bad pit in my stomach, and it's just not going to go away. So it's really hard to be alone with your thoughts. I have a few fears that I just cannot think of, because it takes me down a really dark path. And with OCD, your mind just, it's obsessively thinking about those things. So I just can't do it. And being stuck here without any distractions, without being at work, without being with friends, it's hard, because my mind is just constantly thinking, and I'm just alone with my thoughts. So it's definitely really hard. And lastly, the last thing that I wanted to talk about is being scared to go back to work. Tomorrow I'm actually going back to work for the first time, which is today if you're watching this. I live in Atlanta, and I work at a restaurant that's fairly close to the airport, so I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous. I'm trying not to think about it, because I know tomorrow I'm going to be thinking about it a lot before I go into work, and I hope not, but I really do feel like I'm going to be panicking, and I'm probably going to be panicking at work, because I'm going to be thinking about everything that people are touching and everything else. So I'm really nervous. I'm trying not to think about it. I'm trying to enjoy my last day of being off of work, but it is really terrifying to me, because I just don't know what's gonna happen when I go back to work. So that is just a really scary thought for me. Yeah, I'm trying not to think about it, because if I do, I know I'm not gonna be able to stop. So anyway, that's kind of how I've been struggling with OCD. Now I want to tell you guys how I've been coping. I feel like these could probably help a variety of mental illnesses. So if you are dealing with any of these, I hope that these help you guys. So here's what I do to cope with my mental illness. The first one is Animal Crossing. I'm so happy my husband bought me Animal Crossing. I'm so happy my dad and my stepmom recommended it to me, and my sister-in-law, everybody recommended it. I thought I wouldn't like it, because I had the mobile version a couple years ago when that came out, and I absolutely hated it. So getting the Switch version, I was like, oh gosh, I hope that I like this, because I just spent like $60 on it, and that's a lot of money right now. And honestly, it's been like cheap therapy for me. I saw a meme that said Animal Crossing is basically free therapy or cheap therapy, and it's so true. It keeps me off of social media, it keeps me distracted. My mind just feels so at peace in that game, just fishing and going into my museum and seeing my fish and my fossils and my bugs. It has been helping me so much. I literally can't even tell you. It gives me such joy, and I have something to literally look forward to in the morning, which was something that I really needed, was a reason to wake up in the morning and a reason to start my day. And Animal Crossing has been that for me, because I'm so excited to wake up and to see what's in my shop for the day, and to see what new fossils I find, and to see who's on my island, and if I got a new villager. And it's just been so fun. So sorry, I have like a runny nose, so I apologize that I keep like wiping it. But yeah, Animal Crossing, what I typically do is I play Animal Crossing on my Switch while I watch my favorite shows. I've been watching a lot of good shows lately, so I'll just tell you some of them that I recommend. Call the Midwife, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Those are probably two of my favorite shows of all time. Stranger Things, those are probably my top 3 shows of all time. Stranger Things, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and Call the Midwife. They're absolutely amazing, and Call the Midwife has changed my mind on a lot of important issues, like abortion and other medical issues and feminine issues. I really encourage everybody to watch it. It is so good. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is just incredible, absolutely incredible, breathtaking, beautiful, and I can't believe that we're probably gonna have to wait longer for season 4, but you know, it's okay. Stranger Things, amazing show as well. I went to all the locations. If you're interested, I have a video about it. I will link it up above. And then Some other shows I recommend just to ease your mind: H2O, Just Add Water. Season 1 is on Netflix. Seasons 2 and 3 are on Amazon Prime. My Little Pony is on Netflix. It is such a good way to relax. I also just watched The Great on Hulu. It was incredible. Way too much sex though, I will be honest. I was like, okay, I'm kind of over this whole sex situation going on, but it was a really good show, so I definitely recommend that. What else have I been watching? Oh, this show called Never Have I Ever on Netflix. Freaking hilarious. It was so funny. I've also been watching a lot of YouTube. Emma and John, You're Welcome. They've been amazing. Backpack Barbs. I'm watching a lot of Zoella, and between Zoella and Emma and John, who are from the UK, I've started realizing, since I haven't been communicating with people from the United States, that I have started talking like I am English. And so, like, even this morning I was doing my hair, and there was like a piece sticking up in the back. I was like, oh, that bit looks out of place. When have I ever said bit? Never. So I've definitely been noticing that. Who else have I been watching on YouTube? Christy Carlson Romano, her channel is amazing. Christy's Kitchen Throwback. She does a lot of like throwback with Disney Channel. On Disney Plus, I'm sorry, I'm giving you so many shows now, but on Disney Plus, there's a show called Prop Culture. It is absolutely amazing. He gets props from all these old Disney movies, and it's just such a good show. I cannot recommend it enough. Be Our Chef is a really cute show, way to get your mind off of it from Disney Plus. And also on Disney Plus, a show that just started is called It's a Dog's Life, I think is what it's called, and it's about working dogs, and it's really cute. And the host of it was actually the voice of Goofy and Pluto for years and years and years. I think he actually still is. Yeah, I think that's enough. So those are all shows I recommend if you just want to get your mind taken off of things. They're really good to have in the background playing while you play Animal Crossing. Super good. I love them all. Next is reading. And to be honest, reading is a little bit hard for me because especially at the beginning of the pandemic, when I had just so much rushing through my head, like finances and everything else, getting sick. Now it's gotten a little bit better because we are a little more financially stable, and we've just had a lot of blessings come our way. So thank you to all of our blessings. You guys know who you are. And to unemployment, just everything that has helped during this time. But I have been reading some books, and it has been helping to take my mind off of things. The first one I read was Insta Travel by Aggie Law. It's really good if you are easily distracted while reading, because every page is a different travel experience. So it's not like you're reading chapter after chapter after chapter and having to keep your mind focused. I also read Homework by Julie Andrews. It's the second of her autobiographies, and it was really good. And I also watched her movies after she talked about them in the book. And then I've been reading the Chronicles of Narnia. I've read the first 3 books. I've read The Magician's Nephew, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and The Horse and His Boy. They were all super good. The Horse and His Boy was absolutely incredible. And I'm currently on Prince Caspian, so I'm trying to finish those relatively soon. I want to finish them hopefully by like July, so I can get a little more like summer books in, like beach books and stuff. So I recommend those. The Chronicles of Narnia is like children's books, like early, like teenager books, I guess. So they're really easy to distract your mind. They're not like super hard to read, I guess is the right way to say it, and they have really interesting stories. So I've been really enjoying that. Next is baths. I've really been enjoying my baths. I have one almost every night. I've literally only showered like 3 times during quarantine because the baths are just so relaxing for me. And I've also been struggling with removing warts on my hand and my legs, so it's been really soothing to me to have a bath. And while I'm in there, I can play my Animal Crossing. My legs are nice and soothed in the hot water. And I'm just really enjoying my time in my bath. I always have a drink, like tea or emergency. Sorry, my handsome hubby brought me back some Starbucks. That's why I took a quick pause. Okay, so yeah, baths. Yeah, I get like a little drink, some tea, some emergency. If I'm feeling like it, a little bit of alcohol, some water, anything, and then I play some Animal Crossings, and it's just a very relaxing time. I turn off the lights. All I leave on is my wax warmer, just a little bit of light, and it's just so calming. I love it so much. If I'm really having a stressful day, I won't do anything. I'll just put on some spa music and just veg out in the bathtub. Next is drinking water. Drinking water has been so helpful for me throughout quarantine because I feel like I've been getting a lot of headaches, and the water just helps me keep my mind in check, keeps my body hydrated. So I've been drinking a lot of water, trying to do 100 ounces a day. I know I talk about that in like all my videos, but I highly recommend drinking a lot of water. Staying off social media, I talked about that before. I'm really not going on anymore. I just check my notifications, and that's pretty much it. The only social media I really am using right now is YouTube. And Animal Crossing has really been helping to keep me off because I'm not like bored and being like, oh, what should I do now, and scrolling through my phone. I'm just playing Animal Crossing. Next is exercise and eating healthy. Those have been super helpful for me. I will leave my quarantine workout routine up above if you would like to check that out. But I really feel like it helps clear my mind. It helps release any bad negativity. It helps release some good endorphins. And I just do a quick routine every night before I take my bath, and it's been really, really, really helpful. So definitely recommend that. Also, eating healthy. Some days we eat like total junk and I just feel so sick. And even last night, like it was like 2 o'clock in the morning and I was so hungry, and we have brownies in the microwave. I was like, oh, I really, really, really want a brownie. And then I was like, okay, maybe I should have some berries instead. I'm about to go to bed, and I felt so much better after eating just some blackberries and raspberries. Of course, I treat myself every once in a while. Blake just brought me a chocolate cake pop, and I've been eating brownies and cookies and ice cream galore. But you know what? Eating healthy is important to do. So I've been trying my hardest to eat as much healthy food as I possibly can. And then lastly, my last little tip for you guys is to give yourself grace. I've been trying to give myself grace. It's been really, really hard. There's just so much going through my mind, and I feel like I'm stressed a lot, but it's really important to give yourself grace. If you don't get things done right away, it's okay. It's a hard time for everybody, and I don't want anybody to feel like they're alone if they're here on my channel, and I hope that you know that you're not alone. So anyway, guys, that's really all I have for you. Please remember that you're not alone and that there's people out there who care about you if you are struggling with mental illness in this pandemic, or if you do have mental illness and you're out working and you're stressed and you're scared. That is totally normal. I just hope that you guys know that there's other people out there who are dealing with the same things. And anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it raised a little bit of awareness, and I hope that you are learning some stuff for Mental Health Awareness Month. If you would like to see any more mental health topics, let me know in the comments down below. If you're interested, on my Disney podcast tomorrow, I'm going to be doing an evaluation of the Winnie the Pooh characters and their mental health issues. So go check that out if you want to. And anyway, I hope that you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll see you on Thursday with a vlog. Bye!